The little bottle felt like an old friend in Colonel James Harper's weathered hands. At 72, with 40 years of Ser VYC to his country etched into his bones, he carried the weight of a life well-lived, faint tremors in his fingers, a web of wrinkles framing his warm brown eyes, and the quiet menace of glaucoma, always threatening to dim the colors he loved. His eye drops, a ritual 3 times a day, were his shield against the shadows creeping in. That afternoon, in his cozy apartment at Maple Grove Condominiums, he leaned back in his favorite armchair, sunlight spilling through the window. One drop in the left eye, pause, one in the right. But the moment the drop hit, it wasn't the usual sting. A white-hot pain exploded in his left eye, like someone had poured fire into it. His breath caught, a ragged gasp tearing from his throat. His eyelid snapped shut, glued tight with a sickening stickiness. Panic stabbed through him, sharp and cold. He grabbed the bottle, his right eye blurring with tears, and something worse. Something was wrong, catastrophically wrong. His fingers, usually steady despite his age, shook as he tried to pry his eyelid open, but it wouldn't budge. The burning spread, a chemical inferno trapped behind his sealed lid. Nausea hit hard, and he stumbled to his feet, knocking over a table, his reading glasses and a mug of tea crashing to the floor. "Emma," he croaked, his voice raw with fear, though he knew his daughter wasn't coming until later. He was alone, drowning in pain. His hands, slick with tears and something thicker, fumbled for his phone. Through his one good eye, streaming and blurry, he stabbed at the screen, praying he'd hit Emma's number. When she answered, his voice was a broken whisper, laced with a terror she'd never heard from him before. "Emma, my eye burns. Can't open it." Emma Harper was 2 blocks away, stuck in traffic after a brutal day at the FDA's regional office, wading through compliance reports. Her father's voice on the phone sliced through her exhaustion like a blade. "Dad, what's wrong? What happened?" "The drops, Emma. The drops." Then the line went dead. A chill gripped her, sharper than any case she'd ever worked. Colonel James Harper, a man who'd stared down enemy fire without blinking, sounded shattered. She yanked her car into a U-turn, horn blaring, ignoring the curses of other drivers. Maple Grove was close, but every second felt like a lifetime. She found him crumpled on the Lee VY-ing room floor, his breath coming in sobs. His left eye was swollen shut, a grotesque red mess, lashes matted with a pale, glue-like substance. The eye drop bottle lay nearby, its blue cap askew. A faint, acrid smell hung in the air, not the clean scent of his Timolol prescription, but something Emma knew from her work with mislabeled adhesives. Superglue. Cyanoacrylate. "Dad," she whispered, kneeling beside him, her mind spinning. What happened? He could only moan, his hand clawing toward his eye. Her FDA training kicked in, a cold shield over her panic. She grabbed the bottle, careful not to smudge fingerprints, noting the lot number and expiration date. It looked like his prescription, but that smell. "I'm calling 911, Dad. Don't touch your eye. Just breathe." Her voice was steady, the calm of an enforcement officer, but inside, she was screaming. Who would do this to a kind, elderly man? Paramedics arrived fast, their faces grim as they checked his VY towels. The ER doctor, radioed ahead, ordered an immediate saline flush, but warned the damage could be severe. As they wheeled James out, Emma's eyes caught his kitchen calendar. Today's date was circled with his neat handwriting below. Saw HOA meeting, 7 p.m. flag issue. Saw a shiver ran through her. Linda Grayson, the Maple Grove HOA president, had been a thorn in her father's side, obsessed with enforcing petty rules. She'd been leaving about the small Marine Corps flag on his porch, claiming it broke some vague bylaw. James, who'd bled for that flag, had refused to take it down. Could she? No, it was too horrific to imagine. But as Emma followed the ambulance, the bottle sealed in an EVY Denke bag from her work kit, a hard certainty settled in her gut. This was no accident. This was an attack. In the ER, Dr. Saren Gwynn, a steady-eyed ophthalmologist, worked fast, numbing James's right eye to examine it, then tackling the glued-shut left. "The cornea is likely burned," she said, her voice low. "We won't know the full damage until we open the lid." This wasn't accidental. Her eyes met Emma's, questioning. "No," Emma said tightly. "It was deliberate. I think the drops were replaced with superglue." Dr. Nguyen nodded. "That fits. Direct contact would be catastrophic. He's lucky it was just one eye." She paused. "The bottle." "Secured," Emma replied. "I'm an FDA enforcement officer. It's going to our labs." James, drifting in a morphine haze, mumbled the flag. She called it an eyesore. Linda Grayson's name burned in Emma's mind. Emma spent the night by his hospital bed. The monitors beep a grim rhythm. Her father's bandaged. I stood out starkly against his pale skin, his face etched with pain even in sleep. Her anger hardened into resolve. She'd find who did this and bury them with the full weight of the FDA. Her life had been steady work at the FDA's Office of Criminal Investigations, chasing counterfeit drugs and tainted products, and time with her dad, her rock since her mom passed when she was a teen. James, a widower, lived simply, finding joy in his books, his herb garden, and chess with old Marine buddies. Glaucoma was a cruel blow, but he faced it with the same grit he'd shown in SARE VYC. Linda Grayson, though, had made his quiet life a battleground. A polished woman in her late 50s, with stiff blonde hair and a hawk's gaze. She ruled the HOA like a dictator, citing obscure rules to harass residents. James's flag, his basil and thyme pots, even his TV volume nothing escaped her notices. Emma had sensed malice brewing, but this was EVYL. At dawn, Emma drove to the FDA lab, the EVY Denke bag beside her. Dr. Tom Rivera, their top forensic chemist, met her. "Emma, I heard about your dad. How is he?" "Stable, but his VY sounds uncertain," she said, handing over the bottle. "I need this analyzed fast. I suspect cyanoacrylate." Tom nodded, inspecting the bottle. "We'll run every test." "You think tampering?" "I know it," Emma said grimly. "And I've got to suspect Linda Grayson, his HOA president. She's been targeting him." Tom raised an eyebrow. "HOA drama to chemical assault? That's new. But people snap. If it's what you think, this is aggravated assault, maybe worse." Emma nodded. "Local PD's involved, but the FDA has a stake. This is a tampered prescription drug." Next, she met Detective Rachel Brooks at the police station, laying out the case. James's condition, Linda's harassment, and the superglue. Brooks took notes, sharp and focused. "We need your dad's statement when he's able," she said. "Grayson's a person of interest, but we need more to tie her to the tampering." Emma's jaw tightened. She had motive escalating hostility. She had opportunities always in the complex. And this method? It's VY Sias. Brooks nodded. "We'll inter VYEW her, canvas neighbors. You dig into her FDAWISENY shady substances she's touched." Later, Brooks called with an update. "Grayson's a piece of work. Denied everything. Said your dad's senile. Probably mixed up his meds. Claimed she was home with a migraine. No alibi yet. Then she lawyered up and filed harassment complaints against you with our IA and the HOA, saying you're abusing your badge over her legitimate rules." Emma's blood boiled. Classic deflection. "She's scared," Brooks added. "Innocent people don't swing this hard." That evening, James, awake but weak, gripped Emma's hand. "Linda was at my door yesterday, ranting about the flag. Said she'd handle it if I didn't." His voice broke. "I never thought." Emma soothed him, her mind racing. A threat, a timeline Linda was in deep. Then Tom called. "It's supergluethyl 2-cyanoacrylate, craft grade with blue dye. Traces of timolol, but the drops were spiked." Emma's grip on the phone tightened. "Send the report to Brooks and me." This is it. The fight was on. Linda Grayson, petty tyrant, had crossed into dangerous territory, and she didn't know Emma had the FDA's might behind her. Days blurred into hospital VY sits, specialist consults, and relentless digging. James's cornea was ravaged, his VY shone in that I reduced to faint light. Surgeries loomed, maybe a transplant, but full sight was unlikely. His pain, dulled by meds, left him groggy, yet he worried for Emma. "Be careful, Emma. She's poison." "I will, Dad," she vowed. "She's done." Linda, out on bail, fought dirty. Her harassment complaint against Emma was tossed. Emma's boss vouched for her, but Linda spread lies through the HOA, painting James as unstable and Emma as a bully. Some residents bought it. Others, stung by Linda's cruelty, rallied quietly. Mrs. Clara Evans, whose roses Linda once tried to ban, whispered she'd seen Linda near James's porch that morning, like a fox eyeing a hen. Then came a chilling twist. A neighbor alerted Emma. Linda had tried to break into James's condo, claiming a leaked check, carrying a toolbox. Security stopped her, noting her license plate. Emma called Brooks. "She's tampering with EVY Denke." Brooks agreed. "We're getting a warrant." The search of Linda's home was damning. Tubes of the same blue-dyed superglue, hostile notes about James, arrogant old man, needs a lesson, and, in her car, gloves and an empty dropper bottle. But the real shock was her computer. Linda was running an illegal trade in unapproved cosmetics, fake Botox, sketchy fillers, toxic skin cream source from shady labs abroad, sold to rich clients under the HOA's respectable cover. Was James a threat? Had he seen a deal go down? Or had her double life made her snap? "This is huge," Brooks said. "She's not just a bullish public health menace." Emma's FDA instincts flared. "We're taking this down." The FDA joined the case, tracing Linda's supply chain and warning her clients, many horrified at what they'd used. The upcoming HOA meeting, meant to address James's attack, became a reckoning. Linda, backed by a slick lawyer, Robert Klein, strutted in, but her cool mask cracked as residents packed the hall, cameras rolling. James, in a wheelchair, his bandaged, eyes silent accusation, sat with Emma. Detective Brooks and FDA agents stood ready. The air crackled with tension. Resident Ellen Carter, voice shaking, opened the meeting. "We're here to confront allegations against Linda Grayson, assault on Colonel Harper, and more." Klein leapt up, shouting about a witch hunt, but Ellen shut him down. Residents spoke, their stories of Linda's bullying piling up. Clara Evans mentioned seeing her near James's place. Then Emma stood, locking eyes with Linda. "Ms. Grayson, my father, Colonel James Harper, served this country for 40 years. His crime? A flag and some herbs. On May 15th, someone swapped his eye drops for superglue, burning his eye, stealing his sight. We believe that someone was you." The crowd gasped. Linda paled, Klein poised to interrupt, but Emma pressed on. "You were at his door, threatening him. We found your superglue, your notes, your gloves. But that's not all." She nodded to Brooks. FDA agents stepped forward. "You've been running an illegal drug ring, fake Botox, dangerous fillers endangering lives for profit." An agent spoke. "Linda Grayson, you're under arrest for violating the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, plus wire fraud and money laundering." Linda froze, then collapsed into sobs as handcuffs clicked. Klein's protests drowned in applause. James nodded once, firm, justice dawning. Linda's world crumbled. EVY didn't say superglue. Records, client testimonies buried her. She took a plea. 15 years for assault and federal drug crimes, plus restitution. Maple Grove's HOA, led by Ellen, ousted Linda, reformed its rules, and apologized to James, funding his care. James's recovery was grueling. His eye, scarred, saw only shadows, but his spirit held. He joined the new HOA, advocating for the vulnerable, even learning Braille with a wry grin. The community transformed, naming a park Saw Colonel's Corner Saw with a proud flag. Emma, watching him teach kids chess, felt a hard-won peace. Linda's malice had scarred them, but James's strength and a renewed Maple Grove bloomed brighter. The acrid stench of superglue lingered in memory, but Clara's roses and children's laughter drowned it out. Justice, resilience, and community had won. But questions linger. Was Linda a monster or a woman pushed too far? Should HOAs have less power to prevent such tyranny? Could James have been saved if someone spoke up sooner? Share your thoughts, like, subscribe, and let's debate what would Saw You Saw do if Linda crossed your path.